Do it.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finally test the SSDs on the M1 Macs for developers.
Yay.
Okay, you happy?
Yeah.
Okay. The M1 Mac SSD gate, as I call it, is now long behind us. Hey, 2 months is a long time, I guess, in this world. But you folks keep asking me to do some developer-related SSD tests. Okay, so today we're going to see how Docker uses the SSD on the M1 MacBook Air, a $1,200 machine right here. And this is the 16GB model. And that's important, I'll tell you why later. We're gonna see how it uses the SSD using Docker. And we're gonna compare it to the Intel Core i9 machine, which I have right over here. And this is a MacBook Pro with 64 gigs of RAM. No issues with RAM there at all. Now, just a quick recap for those that are new to the SSD saga. In March of 2021, someone on Reddit posted that SSD lifespan on the new M1 will potentially be destroyed by the intense swapping that happens on these new machines in particular. Many tests and YouTube videos later, we've seen that it really depends on the model you buy and your usage scenario. If you go with the 8GB model, you'll have a lot more swapping going on than with the 16GB model. Fine. Also, if you run mostly Intel architecture apps, that's x86 or x64 apps on the M1, so using Rosetta, that'll also use up a bunch more swap. And I just waved these things away as just silly rumors, but was still curious myself to see how the developer workflows will be affected. So we're going to start this test using Docker today. And if you like this video, I'll know this because you've hit the like button below. Then I may do some more SSD tests with developer-related tools. A couple come to mind are Xcode tests, Xcode build tests, and parallels. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any one of those. So we're about to start, but before we do, I have another giveaway. Giving away the Keychron K8, which is a mechanical keyboard. I did somewhat of a review of it earlier in the year on April 1st. That should give you a clue as to what this video was about. But in reality, it's a really nice keyboard. I'm giving it away. It's brand new. Nobody's used it. One of you folks is going to win it. I'll let you know at the end of the video how to enter. Let's begin. There's going to be a tool that I'm going to install using Homebrew that'll tell us about our SSD usage. But before I show you that, I just wanted to show you Docker Desktop on both of these machines. And Docker is currently running, and I have 0 images on this machine. So we're going to be starting completely from scratch, and I'm going to be running this project right over here. It's basically a Node application. There's the Docker file in case you're interested. It's going to be using Node 16, and it's going to be running server.js, which is just an express server that's gonna print out hello world. Pretty simple app. I'm not really curious about the running of the application. I'm curious about the building of the container rather. All right, let's begin. I'm gonna use Homebrew and I'm gonna install a tool. It's called SmartMon Tools. SmartMon Tools. What a long name, huh? But I guess it's pretty descriptive. All right, let's go. I already installed this tool on my M1, and I did do a test with a Docker image on the M1, but I have not compared it. So you're gonna be seeing this as I'm gonna be seeing this. Okay, that installed fine. Now, the way we run it is smartctl --all, and then we gotta give it a path or the disk address. So that's gonna be device disk 0. This is gonna give us our baseline. We're gonna get the read bytes and the write bytes, or is it megabytes? I don't know, but we're gonna get that information right now before I build a Docker container. So let's see what that's like. Here is what it prints out, and you'll see some information on the model number of the SSD, which is cool. You'll also get the status of it, the health status, which looks like it's pretty good. The temperature, 38 Celsius. The only thing I have running on this is Docker currently. The machine is pretty warm, but this is, I'm guessing, the temperature of the SSD itself. And then what we were interested in is this number and data units written. I'm gonna write down the baseline here to keep track of it, and we're going to do the build, and then after that I'll do some math, some really complicated subtraction, and we're gonna see how much that build took up. And we're gonna do the exact same thing on the M1 so that we can see the difference. Here we are on the M1. I'm gonna run the same thing again, and I get these numbers. Now at the end, I'll summarize all this, so don't worry about writing this down or keeping track of it. Okay, we're good to go. Now I'm gonna do the build. So I'm in my node web directory, which is where my Docker file is. I'm gonna issue the command docker build dot, so current directory, -t, and we'll call this one node web app. And let's go. While that's happening over there, I'm gonna set this one up. I'm not gonna run them at the same time because it's gonna be fetching some data data from the internets. And let's do that here as well. Okay, and now we're just gonna run that smart control command one more time to see the difference. And same thing here. I'm gonna write these numbers down now. Okay, so that was the first build, but you know, us developers, we sometimes like to test things multiple times and take the average. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Now, in order to get the average, what I need to do is actually clear out the cache for Docker. So I need to go to Docker. Let's make sure nothing is running here, and it's not. So I'm gonna delete this container, rather image, and over here as well. Good. Now, in order to delete the cache, Docker builder prune. And yes, good. This way we're starting from scratch, and I'm just gonna keep accumulating these writes and reads. So I'm not gonna get a baseline anymore because these are all the tests that I'm doing today. So the initial baseline I did is just fine for this test. Let's go ahead and do a build here, and I'm gonna set it up over here as well. When this one's done, I'll start this one. All right, that one is going now. I'm gonna get the numbers from Smart. And one more time, you don't have to watch this one. I'll just do this real quick. All right, folks, I found some really interesting stuff here. And it's the opposite of what everybody's been yelling about. In fact, take a look at the numbers here. The Intel machine has been using way more SSD than the M1 for this particular test. Now, I have to say that the M1 is running Docker natively. So Docker is running on ARM. This is the latest version of Docker that's compatible with ARM. So everything is native here. We're not using Rosetta in this case. And maybe that's even more optimized than running Docker Intel on an Intel machine. I don't know. This is the exact same image. It is requesting Node 16, and Node 16 is both ARM version and an Intel version as well. So it could be that Node 16 is intelligently being pulled based on the architecture of the machine as well. And doing an ARM Node 16 build could also help out here and maybe use up less SSD in that case. So I'm gonna throw the numbers up right here on the screen, and you'll be able to see a significant difference between SSD usage on the Intel box versus the M1 box. Now, I didn't know this was gonna happen. You're seeing this as I was looking at it myself here, and the results are a bit surprising to me, given all the hoopla that's been going on in the last couple months, which makes me also curious to see if something running under Rosetta will have the consistent results that people have been seeing and reporting as the problem. But for now, this is pretty positive, and I'm liking where things are going with the natively built software for ARM chips on the M1 and in the next few generations of Apple Silicon. Again, if you like this kind of video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We'll be doing more tests like this. Speaking of more tests, let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do any more tests, the SSD variety, SSD tests, whether it's Xcode or Parallels. Leave a comment, and by leaving a comment, you'll also be entered into the raffle that I'm gonna be doing for this keyboard over here. I showed this earlier, very nice keyboard. I even have the box. I'm gonna be doing more giveaways as well on this channel, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.